Well, we waited all day for Sunday night for 7 months, and we got that.
Unbelievable.
Alex, man. I mean, when we thought the game was over, oh, it just began. I mean, the game began when we thought it was all over. It was unbelievable. I mean, we'll run through the stats, the numbers, and everything else, but I mean, that was just unreal football that we saw at the end by Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills. Well, I mean, just a word, 2, 3. I don't know. Give me something.
That was a special game. That was two MVP quarterbacks, Derrick Henry. That game had everything. This is why we love football. This is why we love Sunday night football. This is why the stars come out. This is why this game was pegged as the week 1 Sunday night game. That was incredible football. You want to talk about grit? You want to talk about coaching? You want to talk about talent on the field, perseverance, resilience? You want to talk about luck a little bit? You want to talk about plays that might be overlooked right now, but I think when you go back on it, they won't be. And not only that, the Buffalo Bills validated themselves tonight. And I think that's my biggest takeaway right now. The Buffalo Bills validated themselves tonight.
Even in that situation, I mean, Buffalo went out and scored first, and then Baltimore, with whatever caught their system, where it was just anger and pure torture they wanted to put on the Buffalo Bills, they put it on them for a while. And the Ravens held a 15-point lead with 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and did not score a point the rest of the game. The Bills scored the last 16 points to close it out, with Matt Prater hitting the game-winning field goal from 32 yards out after getting on a red-eye flight early in the weekend out from Arizona. What a story that was.
Unreal. I mean, you talk about the Ravens playing. Chris Collinsworth said this on the broadcast. They were pissed off when they met with them earlier this week. And I don't blame them, because when you think about the way they lost last year to Buffalo in the playoffs, and I heard everybody say, "Oh, this is not on Lamar Jackson. Oh, the Ravens didn't lose this. The Ravens didn't lose this game, or whatever it was. Oh, they beat themselves, or this and that." Stop right there. Seriously, stop right there. I'm so sick and tired of the Baltimore Ravens getting all of this, whatever it is, hype that they're going to win the Super Bowl. No, they're not. They can't hold a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter against a team that I heard all week leading up to the divisional round playoff game last year that they're bigger and tougher than. No, they are not. But going back to the Buffalo Bills, how great was Josh Allen tonight when he needed to be? In the fourth quarter, he said, "Give me the damn ball." And he delivered. That throw after the first play after Derrick Henry's fumble, to name that tight end for me if you can, if you have the stat sheet in front of you. Number 85.
It was Jackson Halls.
Who?
Yale's finest.
Who? I'm sorry, who?
I mean, wow. You found out tonight.
Yeah, you found out tonight, that's for sure.
His one catch.
Play.
Yeah.
And then on the last drive, the throw to Joshua Palmer, the throw to Keon Coleman. Unbelievable. To watch Josh Allen, he heard it all offseason that he didn't deserve MVP, and he's like, okay. He came out slinging tonight. That first touchdown throw to Dalton Kincaid was like, see, I am the MVP. There are some words there are some words that maybe he said that I'm not going to use on this show because we're a family friendly program here.
That's true.
But he validated like tonight to watch these two teams play was to watch these two teams just like sling yang right at each other.
Yeah.
We saw it last year in the playoffs. It was 27-25. Well, how's 41-40 for you? What was the over-under on this game tonight? Because if you didn't take the over, I sincerely feel bad for you.
I mean, looking around, I mean, this is just crazy to think. The over-under was 51.5.
Oh.
Well, crushed.
Well, that was smashed.
And I'll tell you this. It will spread the Ravens by 1.5. Ravens minus 1.5. And I tell you, a lot of people that were betting on this game were definitely sweating that one
favored?
when Henry fumbled.
The Ravens were favored?
Yeah, they were favored going into this one.
That's interesting. Okay.
And a slap to the face for Buffalo.
Slap in the face. Sincerely. The Ravens have all these players on both sides of the ball, and they can't get it done. I'm sorry. When do we blame John Harbaugh for this?
Let's do this real quick, okay? I want to read off some of these numbers because there were some unbelievable performances tonight on both sides of the ball. So, first off, Lamar Jackson was 14 for 19, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, had 6 carries for 70 yards and a score.
Good night.
Derrick Henry had that big-time fumble that obviously is going to, it's going to live with them from the start of the season. Derrick Henry had 18 carries for 169 yards and 2 touchdowns, averaged 9.4 yards a carry. And the leading receiver for the Ravens was Zay Flower for 7 catches, 143 yards, and a touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins having a vintage one-handed catch down the sideline for a touchdown where he just kind of appeared in the game for the first time in the second half was what it felt like. But on the flip side, in the winning effort for the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, man, 33 for 46, 394 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, carried the ball 14 times for 30 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then I got to say this, looking at, some of these guys stepping up like Joshua Palmer and Khalil Shakir, those guys had both over 60 yards receiving. James Cook had 5 catches out of the backfield. But how about Keon Coleman? 8 catches for 112 yards and a touchdown. Talking about from what Sean McDermott said over the offseason, this is a guy that has had probably the biggest improvement out of any of these Buffalo Bills offensive players, and it definitely showed tonight. He made that big catch down the stretch, and one could say the Ravens probably should have just let him score if possible, but then Keon Coleman, he fell, and then the Bills were able to run the clock out and kick the game-winning field goal. But Coleman, second-year player out of Florida State, I mean, definitely came as advertised when he was picked pretty early in the draft last year, 8 for 112 and a touchdown on 11 targets.
I mean, just hearing all those guys that contributed to this game tonight, like it just goes to show you just how great this game was and how many players contributed to the greatness of it. And here's the thing. It's once again the fact that the Bills, they don't have as nearly a talented receiving core as the Baltimore Ravens. But what they do have, Chase, is they have an MVP quarterback. And I remember I was on Twitter during the game and I saw Buffalo as an all-time great quarterback. The Ravens have the better roster. Really? Because the Ravens do have the better roster. They closed the game out. Like, oh, so now you know what it feels like to score 40 points and lose a game. Well, we can tell you all about that.
Actually, Alex, we can't even tell you about that. We didn't even score 40 last year and lose a game. We scored 30 plus.
That's true.
But they scored 40 and lost. But, we're going to ask that question. I want to ask that question, though.
Here's the thing. Like, Lamar Jackson had a good night. I mean, he had almost 300 total yards of offense. Like, I'm not gonna say anything bad about Lamar Jackson. But again, you couldn't ice the game. You had 3rd and 9, and you throw short of the sticks. I don't care if your receivers have the best speed in the world. The Bills were making good tackles all game. Ed Oliver had 2 huge plays in the game today. Today. A sack on the first drive. He had another key play in the 3rd or 4th quarter. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I mean, here's the great thing about doing this live is that we're going off the cuff here. Okay. Yeah. But this game might deserve a film review later on this week.
It definitely will.
You just think about the fact that the Bills, once again, their resourcefulness and their resiliency and their toughness was so on display today. And it just, I mean, it's funny. Ryan, my cousin, who's works with me, he asked me earlier today, because Thurman Thomas was at the game today, Andre Reed was at the game today, and he asked me, why do these guys never leave Buffalo? And I think it's just the community. I think it's the tight-knit community, and they feel a sense of belonging within that city, within Western New York. I mean, how great of a night was this for them? I had a friend of mine who was at the game tonight, and he was texting me pictures from where he was sitting, where we're going to be sitting when we go to the Bengals-Bills game in December. And he was sending me videos of when Josh Allen came out onto the field for the first time, first time when he was, that was his first home regular season game after winning MVP. And tonight he validated, not only did he deserve to win MVP last season, he also deserved to win MVP in 2023. And I'll stand by that. I will stand by the fact that Josh Allen deserved to win MVP in 2023 because his numbers were better than Lamar Jackson's that year. I will firmly say that. Okay, the way he played down the stretch after Ken Dorsey became the Bills offensive coordinator, the Bills won 5 straight games to win the division, and then he was excellent in the playoffs. I know it didn't end well for him, and I'm convinced that the Bills had gotten past the Chiefs, they would have beaten the Ravens in the AFC Championship. He is validated, and Chase, it's funny. He loses his top 2 receivers after the 2023 season. And what has he done since then? He's won an MVP, and so far, he may repeat his MVP this season.
Yeah, I mean, again, with it being a live show, there's so much to just kind of, take in, recap, and everything else going off the dome. This is just unbelievable. And I've got 2 questions for you before we move on from this game, because we could talk about this game for hours. I mean, we truly can. We could talk about these plays for 10 minutes at a time. But I just want to ask these 2 questions. Number one, I mean, think about this: for Sunday Night Football to be in their 20th season. And the anthem from Carrie Underwood, spectacular. I just got to put that out there. But man, Alex, was this? I think the question here is this. I think this is an easy yes. This was the greatest Week 1 SNF game of all time, no doubt at all. Is this the greatest SNF game you've ever seen?
So, are you asking me regular season or any
regular season? Regular season.
See, yeah. I love when you ask these questions after a game like this because it's so recency bias driven. I mean, you have to admit that, but it's definitely up there. I mean, this is like Chiefs Patriots in 2018. This is, I mean, I'm trying to think of all the great regular season games right now in SNF on NBC history, but I think given what was at stake, the circumstances, think about this, Chase. It was the final regular season home opener at Highmark Stadium, and that stadium has a lot of history. I kept thinking about tonight how that stadium saw the greatest postseason comeback in NFL history with Frank Reich and the Bills in 1993 in January, and Steve Christie with the game-winning field goal in overtime. Yep. So I think about, I mean, that the circumstances, the players on the field tonight, what happened in January, and the Ravens, like, imagine being in that locker room tonight and being on that flight back to Baltimore. What are you possibly thinking about? Like, if this season's about winning the Super Bowl and you can't even hold a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter in Week 1, now you got to go back to that where you were in 2022 and even last year, because people keep talking about how, oh my gosh, the Ravens were so close to being the Chiefs and the Bills. You lost to the Raiders and the Browns. Okay? I don't want to hear about how great you are if you can't beat those teams. And if you can't even get to the damn AFC Championship and the playoffs when you're giving all these Pro Bowlers and all pros. I'm sorry if I'm a little testy right now, but I have Ravens fans tell me all the time how great their quarterback is, how he has 2 MVPs and Joe Burrow doesn't have an MVP. That's low-hanging fruit, okay? Joe Burrow's beaten Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship. He's beaten Josh Allen in the playoffs. And by the way, let me turn it back to you, Chase. Is Josh Allen the best quarterback in the NFL right now?
He was the best quarterback this week. I'll tell you that.
Well, that's a definite.
I'll tell you that one. I mean, unless JJ McCarthy or Caleb Williams knock your socks off, Josh Allen had easily the best performance of any quarterback this week, man. I mean, we talk about that group of 4 and, with Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar in no particular order, but I mean, Josh Allen was voted the MVP last season, and like you mentioned, he might be coming after another one with the great performance he had to start the season off. And, it's just wow. I don't have much to say after that game. I just know, the Bills, the Ravens. I mean, what a way to start off the season on Sunday Night Football. This is all we've been waiting for, and we got everything we could have asked for and more.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like this matchup, Roquan Smith said it on the NFL Network schedule release show that this game was going to set the tone for the season. Well, if it is, I don't think it's a good tone right now for the Ravens. I mean, you literally show you. I'm saying people are saying tonight, oh, the Ravens are a Super Bowl team. Well, maybe they're going to peak now, and if they are peaking now, they lost. They have to be so deflated right now, incredibly deflated. They had the Buffalo Bills. They had that stadium silenced. Okay,
Yep.
I mean, they're like Drew Esikoff kept going to shots of just Bills fans going like what in the world is Derrick Henry doing? Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers. I mean, you've got Zay Flowers waving to the fans in the stands. I mean, you got Lamar Jackson shoving a Bills fan in the front row, which I guess the Bills fan was kind of instigating it, so it wasn't. I guess Jordan Schultz, at least on Twitter, didn't have too big of an issue with it. But man, this game had everything. I mean, this is why we wait all day for Sunday night.
We definitely did. And there really is no true way to put a bow on it. All I got to say is if you missed it, I feel sorry for you. Go back and watch the highlights. It still doesn't do justice. It still doesn't do justice.
If you left the game early tonight, I really don't know what to say to you.
I think the perfect way to wrap this one up for if you missed this game, if you know, you know. All right. So next week's Sunday Night Football game is the Falcons and Vikings. The Vikings haven't played yet. The Falcons had a tough defeat earlier. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But as we work our way back a little bit into the daytime, the Green Bay Packers made a huge statement against the Detroit Lions. They were able to find some success and really punish Detroit and win their game 27-13. That game being played at 4:25 Eastern time at Lambeau Field. What was the big thing that jumped off the page for you, Alex, in that Lambeau Field game with the Lions and the Packers?
I think the Packers were more prepared for this game. I think they embraced the opportunity that they had in front of them. They were playing at home. They had lost the previous 3 straight seasons at Lambeau Field to the Lions, and they knew that if they wanted to win the NFC North, they had to win this game. Give them credit for handling their business, for going out there and having a really good day on both sides of the ball. They knew if they drop this game and they're staring down Washington coming in on a short week, that was not going to be an ideal position. You got a home win in your division. Remember, this team was 1-5, Chase, in the NFC North last year. 1-5. And their one win came on a blocked field goal against the Bears in Week 11 in Chicago. So they could have been 0-6. So this is a big win for the Packers, a huge statement made by Jordan Love. If this team is going to win the NFC North, they had to win today. They did. Now let's go to the Lions side of things. Not concerned yet because I think we knew they were going to be growing pains. But losing by 14 on the road against a team that you have owned the last 4 years, that's not a good thing. Okay, it was 27-6. It never really felt like the Lions were in the game. Brian Branch he made a stupid mistake earlier by throwing Tucker Kraft's helmet, which I really don't know why, because he got ejected at Lambeau Field last year, if you remember, in that pouring monsoon of a game. So it just feels like, to me, I wonder how these receivers are going to get open, who's going to make plays. Can Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery be who they were last year? I just don't see any flash and creativity with this Lions offense right now. But again, it's only one game. The Packers had Micah Parsons. He's very tough to prepare for. You had a week and a half, but when you're not ready for that, it definitely threw a wrench in their plans. And I do think the Lions bounce back from this, but it's going to be a battle for 18 weeks in this division between these two teams. I was thoroughly impressed with Jordan Love's ball distribution. You're seeing the weapons that he has to throw to. Matthew Golden, Romeo Doubs, Tucker Kraft, Jaden Reed. This is a really solid offense that the Packers have. Matt LaFleur is a heck of a head coach. This was a game they needed to win. They owned it. The atmosphere was incredible. Give the Packers credit.
Jordan Love was 16 for 22, 188 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, had a 128.6 passer rating. And on the flip side for Detroit, Jared Goff, 31 for 39, 225, a touchdown and interception. That interception was really crucial toward the end of the first half in the red zone, to put it lightly. I mean, that any chance that Detroit had right there, I mean, it looked pretty flat going into halftime. But, Green Bay just jumped out early. Detroit wasn't really able to get anything going. They just settled for 3 a couple of times where they really could have got in there to put 7 on the board. And I think when I look at this Detroit team again, are we concerned yet? Not really. But like you mentioned, the lack of creativity that came from that Detroit offense. Obviously, there, like you mentioned, there's going to be growing pains with new coordinators on both sides of the football. I think Detroit's defense honestly played pretty well in the second half. I mean, their offense, the defense put the offense in some positions to succeed, but the offense just couldn't get anything going. And I think the big thing we mentioned and you really harped on this a lot, Frank Ragnow retiring, Kevin Zeitler leaving. I mean, they had to get their interior line, and guess what? Jeff Hafley, who was over at Boston College for a bit, he schemed up a lot of great stunts and timely blitzes that the Packers were able to get home on with Jared Goff.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, in the NFC North where games are won is the line of scrimmage. And when you have to, run a new center and a new right guard out there, when you're a team that wants to play the way the Lions have played, it's going to be difficult. Am I concerned? No. But I mean, you saw what Derrick Henry and the Ravens did tonight, and that defensive front, you're staring down them in 2 weeks on Monday Night Football. I mean, here's the thing. You have the Bears in week 2. You should win that game. If you go into Baltimore and win, or at least keep it close, I think we'll feel a little better about this team. Then you have the Browns. So, I mean, look, they can bounce back from this. But this is a sign that they're not going to cakewalk their way to 15 wins like they did last year. And they didn't cakewalk their way, but they won a lot of games, scoring a lot of points. They may have to win a lot more of grinded out games this season. And I don't know if they'll be able to do that. But Jordan Love's stat line today, did he throw for a lot of yards? No, but he took care of the football. That's the big thing, Chase. And you and I both talked about this early on in the season. He turns the ball over a lot. Today he didn't. That was really crucial.
There were 2 plays where it looked like Jordan Love had turnover-worthy throws, and Detroit just dropped it. And another one, they had a penalty that took them out of anything and gave the Packers a first down. But I want to mention, with pivoting off of this game, there were 2 other games that were played at 4:05 on Fox, and another game played at 4:25 on CBS. The Niners were able to get the victory over the Seahawks, 17-13. Brock Purdy having a spectacular throw, buying a bunch of time late in the game with about 90 seconds to go. And then the Broncos were able to win their game 20-12. J.K. Dobbins scored that touchdown to really separate the gap. It was only a 1-score game, but again, I mean, Denver was struggling against Tennessee. But the game I want to talk about, Alex, is that Rams-Texans game. We thought the Texans were going to run away with this one and that Matthew Stafford was going to have a lot of problems, but Stafford and the Rams were able to win 14-9, an ugly one. They went 21 for 29, 245 and a touchdown, and the Rams were able to come out victorious.
Well, congratulations first off to Matthew Stafford. 60,000 passing yards now in his career. A very, very good career. He will be, I believe, in Canton one day. Yeah, definitely not playing out the way I thought it would, but give the Rams defense credit. You keep the Texans out of the end zone, and you find a way after a little bit of an adverse training camp to get a win like that against a division-winning team. I know it's interconference matchup, so, but again, these games count. Every game counts the same. You found a way to win. You made some plays defensively. The Rams defense continuing, despite being young, to really step up when it matters most. And to get a win in week 1, I think is crucial for them because they're gonna have to win a lot of games, I think, to keep pace with the 49ers. That's a good win for them.
It definitely is. And, not to just brush over those other 4 o'clock games. So there are, a lot of 1 o'clock games to get to. But again, the Broncos able to get their win by 8. The Niners, it was a very, it was a lower scoring fest. It was a slug it out game. Some injuries happened on the side of the Niners. But, I watched some Brock Purdy tape a couple of days ago. I think he's a lot better of a quarterback than you think. He threw 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. But ultimately, when he needed to get the job done, number 13 in that red and gold was able to get the job done for the Niners.
Well, when it's time to rock and roll, he does. And that throw to Ricky Pearsall down the sideline, that took some guts. That was a dime when it mattered, when there was a high leverage situation. Give the Niners credit to go into Seattle and beat the Seahawks for a 4th straight season on the road. That's a big-time win for the 49ers. And Nick Bosa, the closer, closing it out.
We're going to sift our way through a lot of these 1 o'clock games, but there are a couple that we're going to highlight extensively. So let's just go down the list a little bit here. The Cardinals beat the Saints 20-13 after the Saints literally had the game potentially tied and dropped it in the end zone, and Arizona able to snap the Saints 6-game opener streak of 6-game season opening winning streak. Sorry, I was losing the words. It's really late at night, but again, I didn't even realize that. I did not realize the Saints literally had won 6 straight season openers. It's actually insane to think about, but had the chance right there wearing those gold uniforms, but not able to pull through. Pete Carroll and the Raiders get a victory over the New England Patriots, 20-13. The weather was a bit ugly. It cleared up a little bit, but the Raiders were able to pull out that one in a little bit of an uglier fashion. The Commanders over the Giants, 21-6. Again, that was a lower scoring game, but when the Commanders needed to get things done, they got things done. The Jags and the Panthers had a weather delay, and the Jags were able to win 26-10. And Travis Etienne was running wild and loose in Duval. That was such a big performance. And we're going to stop right here real quick because we need to talk about our team. We exercised some demons and won a week 1 football game, regardless of how ugly it was. The Bengals beat the Browns 17-16 in Northeast Ohio, Alex.
You have minus 18 yards in the 4th quarter, and you find a way to win the game. Here's the thing, okay? Never apologize for a win. Never. Because after watching 6 straight seasons of going to Cleveland and number 95 wrecking the game, and even today when he sacked Joe Burrow back-to-back times in the 4th quarter and you thought this game is going to turn. And by the way, after losing the games in the way the Bengals did last year, it was nice to have some luck on our side. This time with Andre Smith missing a 36-yard field goal with about just over 3 minutes to go. I have to give credit to the Bengals secondary because Jordan Battle's interception, if that does not happen, the Browns might go down and score again, and we are in trouble.
Yeah.
But give the Bengals secondary credit. They made some plays today. Jordan Battle and DJ Turner. How about Logan Wilson? I think he may have heard that he was on the decline throughout training camp in the preseason. He showed up today. He made some huge tackles, had a pass breakup. But here's the thing that stood out to me. In the second half, Trey Hendrickson showed up.
He did.
He made impacts, and that rubs off on the entire defense, okay? BJ Hill got in there, and the run defense much better today. Yeah. In the first half, I thought the offense looked crisp. They didn't try to take too many risk plays. I thought the touchdown on Noah Fant was beautifully designed. Mm-hmm. The first drive was excellent. I like the first play, roll out, hit Fant for 12 yards to get an easy completion, get something going. Chase Brown had a nice game today. I mean, that touchdown run, he kind of like stopped and then cut back the other way. Mm-hmm. So again, was it pretty? No. But hey, you won. And you know what? As an old coach of mine used to say, you got to win ugly sometimes, because if you lose pretty, you can't fix pretty. You can fix ugly. And Joe Burrow was quick to acknowledge that. But hey, you won the game. You won the game. You're 1-0. You can build on this. You have some momentum now. And here's the other thing too, Chase. It's an AFC North Division road win. That's always important.
Stack. The Bengals lost pretty a lot last year. They win their first game of the season in an ugly way, but guess what? A win's a win. I'm not concerned about the offense. That's a great Cleveland defense. We just got to put that out there. It really is. When you got 95 out there who just got paid like $40 million and is one of the best defensive players. And honestly, I think the best defensive player in all of football. Again, he's a game wrecker. It's tough, but the Bengals are able to find a way to win the football game, regardless of how ugly it looked. But they were able to get to 1-0 for the first time since 2021.
Yeah,
now,
Ryan, don't make a cut off there. Ryan mentioned this to me earlier today, or we talked about this. When you have a guy like Myles Garrett, who's the most terrorizing player in football and what he can do, and then you have a lockdown corner in Denzel Ward, it makes it very difficult to move the ball.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett led the NFL in tackles for loss last year. Denzel Ward led the NFL in passes defended. So you find a way to win that game, and you don't have to face them until week 18. They may be done by then. I can't tell you how big that is. No, regardless of how bad the offense was in the second half. And it was bad. But, hey, your defense bows up.
It did. And the Bengals play the Jags next week, 1-0 versus 1-0. That's going to be a really good game. The big cat fight. Can't wait for it. Be in attendance for that.
Big cat fight. You're going?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, should be fun. Open in orange. Let's have it be the opposite result of last year. But there's 3 games that are left that we have not talked about, okay?
Okay.
First off, how about Danny Dimes? Daniel Jones. How about the Colts? 33-8 over the Miami Dolphins. Alex, you called that the Colts were going to come out here and play really inspired football. And for some reason, I just did not see what the Dolphins were, or maybe I just, saw a mirage where the Dolphins would come out and play well. Oh, boy, I was wrong. 33-8. What did you see?
Well, first off, Lou Anarumo's defense, he can still coach defense.
Yeah.
That was for sure. What I saw today was a Colts team that played inspired, as you mentioned. It was an emotional day, first game since Jim Irsay passed away in May, so emotions were high. But for Daniel Jones to come in to that organization, be named the starter, he looked really good today. Really good today. Michael Pittman made a nice play. Jonathan Taylor didn't even have a great game on the ground. You still beat the Dolphins by 25 points. But my God, should we be concerned about the Dolphins or what? Because and Tua threw 2 picks today. They were awful picks. Okay,
terrible.
One of them, the defensive end, Latu, dropped back into coverage and was right there to intercept it. That cannot happen. I'm sorry. He missed a lot of throws today. And I get the Dolphins had a bad training camp, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad in week 1. Oh, by the way, you play all 3 AFC East teams coming up. This could get really ugly really quick down in Miami. But let's give the Colts credit. Did you know, Chase, this was their first week 1 win since 2013? So you want to talk about exercising week 1 demons? 2 teams on I-74 did that today.
Yes, they did. And Daniel Jones went 22 for 29, 272 yards, and threw a touchdown, and was also able to get it done on the ground a bit when he had 7 carries for 26 yards and 2 touchdown scores. So Danny Dimes put up over 30 fantasy points. That waiver wire pickup could go strong in some of these leagues, I'll tell you that one. But I let me just say this here as we pivot off. There's the best Fox game that we saw today, and there's the best CBS game that we saw today. Which one would you want to start off with before we end this, this late portion of the show?
Considering you and I are Buckeyes, let's start with the guy that I called the steal of the draft. I have him on my fantasy team, and he showed up today.
He wears number 2. He scored 2 touchdowns, and the one happened to be the go-ahead game-winning touchdown. Emeka Egbuka and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were able to survive and win a game on the road in Atlanta, a divisional opponent, 23-20. What a game this was, Alex. The quarterbacks, when they needed to step up, they stepped up. But when the kickers, you think about it, the Bucs kicker, missed the extra point. Younghoe Koo for the Falcons missed the opportunity to tie the game.
You know what's funny is last year against Tampa Bay at home, Younghoe Koo made like a 50-plus yard field goal to tie the game and send it to overtime, but he misses a 44-yard field goal. But here's the thing. You want to talk about great defensive players? Antoine Winfield Jr.'s pass breakup on the play before the game-winning field goal, that was huge.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? You want to talk about why he's paid a lot? Because he makes those kinds of plays. It's those little things. But give Tampa Bay credit. They were swept by the Falcons last year. I think they took that personally. because now they have the leg up on them. When Baker Mayfield needed to make throws today, he did. That's a sign of his maturity. Did he play well today? No, he'll tell you that. But you can tell that he's about winning football games, and he did that today. And the Buccaneers are off to a 1-0 start. That game Monday night, 7 o'clock next week at the Houston Texans, that carries a lot of weight for both teams. It's going to be a fun one.
It's going to be a fun one to preview as well.
Yes.
Baker Mayfield was 17 for 32, 167 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and also led the team in rushing with 5 carries for 39 yards. So Baker played well. And I think the big thing for me with when I picked the Bucs, I was like, okay, I think the Bucs have a better roster. They're a bit more experienced. I do trust Baker Mayfield in those later game situations. And there you go, throwing the touchdown. And Michael Penix Jr., he played a really good football game, 27 for 42, 298 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions, and was only sacked 1 time. I was thoroughly impressed with him.
I was too, and he looked very composed in the fourth quarter. There's nothing about him that makes me think he's going to be a bust, which is obviously something you want when you draft the quarterback number 8 overall. But I mean, he's going to be thrown to the Wolves again next Sunday night in Minnesota against that Vikings defense, because Tampa Bay's defense, yes, they're good. They're not going to make things complicated, and they're not going to bring pressure from so many angles the way Minnesota can. But a great NFC South game week 1. That was the underrated game of the week for me this week, and you saw why. But we head up to New York, and a former Atlanta, or excuse me, not a former, an Atlanta native, Justin Fields. I think he may have found something in New York a little bit.
I think so. And honestly, this was like the Freaky Friday swap on a Sunday. What a weekend this was. Yeah. I mean, think about it. Aaron Rodgers played for the Jets last year. Fields played for the Steelers. They swap spots. They play week 1. Aaron Rodgers is like, man, I want to beat anybody that's a part of the Jets organization. And then Justin Fields is like, I got to prove myself as a quarterback in the National Football League. And they put up fireworks galore with numbers, 34-32. The Pittsburgh Steelers were able to win this one. I mean, it was scoring back and forth. I mean, the Jets were up 3-0, and then the Steelers were up 7-3. The Jets had a 9-point lead in the second quarter, and they also had a 9-point lead in the third quarter. But then Pittsburgh was able to score back-to-back 2 touchdowns in 50 seconds and took the lead by 5 before Justin Fields was able to have a really nice play fake bootleg rollout to score a touchdown. They didn't get the 2-point conversion. And then later on in the game, I mean, you're kidding me. Chris Boswell from 60 yards out to win the football game, and Jalen Ramsey puts the icing on the cake and literally sends Garrett Wilson to Mars.
Yeah, the Steelers were absolutely justified in trading for Jalen Ramsey this offseason. That was a hell of a defensive play. Is Chris Boswell the best kicker in the NFL?
He's the best kicker against the Bengals, I'll tell you that one.
Well, that we know. Yeah, very unexpected to see 66 combined points. But, I'm really curious to see if the Jets can build off this, because I think you're seeing this team led by Aaron Glenn. They have some looseness to them that I think can kind of catch teams by surprise a little bit. And then Aaron Rodgers, give him credit. He was good today. And did you hear him in his post-game press conference? He was like, well, there were some people in that organization that thought I couldn't play anymore. And, well, I showed them the day that I could. Very subtly said it.
Yeah.
But when you take off Aaron Rodgers, you tell him he can't do something, you're going to pay the price. And we've known that now for 20 years. Okay, have we hit on every 1 o'clock game? I feel like we have.
I think so, but I want to mention this real quick. There was actually, I was in a group chat, and I had a friend that told me everyone in this group chat said that Aaron Rodgers was washed. And I stood up adamantly and said, oh, I didn't. I never said that. Why the hell would you bet against Aaron Rodgers in any situation? He went to a winning culture organization, and the dude throws for 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. I never said anything like that. I mean, that was a great day for him. 244, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, was sacked 4 times, but had a 136 rating.
That's pretty good. You know what else is pretty good, Chase Younts? I want to congratulate you, because you are now an Emmy Award winner, an Emmy Award winning broadcaster. You and Ethan Herzog, and he mentioned the two others for me.
Alex Perez was my color,
Yes.
and then Katie McDonough was our director in that one. And that
Yes.
was a lot of fun. I appreciate that, Alex. Thank you.
And Joe Brockman as well. Tremendous job that he does with all of you guys at Bearcast Media. Okay, real quick, going back to Thursday and Friday, the Eagles and the Cowboys, Philadelphia winning 24-20, and then the Chargers beating the Chiefs 27-21. Anything you want to mention from those games? I know we're kind of getting to close to the wee hours in the morning, but real quick, you want to mention anything about that?
It was a shootout in the first half of that Eagles Cowboys game, and then it just stalled. Obviously, I know the weather played a factor and everything else, but both defenses found a way to halt the offenses. CeeDee Lamb dropped the game 3 times in one drive. He could have won the game for the Cowboys, just wasn't able to. I was impressed with how Dallas was able to compose themselves and keep them in the game. Jalen Carter, I think, was an absolute idiot to start off the game, but that is for another time. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with him. And then
do you think he could be suspended?
I think he should be suspended. I truly think he should be. And
you all know the Eagles' next game.
Oh, we know the Eagles' next game, and the Chiefs know their next game too, because the Chiefs are coming off that loss to the Chargers. Justin Herbert looked really good. The Chargers looked really good. And I tell you, I mean, with the injury to Xavier Worthy, and now he had that shoulder injury, Rashee Rice has been suspended. I don't know right now. I mean, if I'm Kansas City, I'm not saying I'm panicking, but there's going to be a huge sense of urgency coming up when you are going across the team that pounded you in the Super Bowl with no mercy.
With no mercy, but I think what you saw on Thursday night with the Eagles is, and especially when Jalen Carter got ejected, their defensive line does not have nearly the personnel that it did last year, and that's a concern of mine. And they gave up some plays in their secondary, and they were aided by CeeDee Lamb's drops, obviously. But for me, Justin Herbert showed me something because, he finally beat Mahomes. And the Chargers, they threw the first punch, and they just kept going at them. That's what was so great to see. Okay. Let's do our horse trailer player of the game for
we don't even have to. It's Josh, man. Come on. It's Josh.
No, it totally is. It totally is Josh Allen. That was a special game. 41-40. That game is going to be long-lived in Sunday Night Football and NBC lore. We're in the 20th season. And by the way, here's the great thing. This is the celebration 20th season. Next year, Sunday Night Football on NBC turns 21. And I'm told that when you turn 21, you're legally able to drink.
Oh, God.
We're going to be celebrating even more next year, too. So
I'll tell you that. And
yeah, just be ready.
To leave on that, I remember we were talking about our game picks on Friday. Actually, not Friday. Sorry, I'm getting confused with the days. But I tell you, I think we were talking about that on our Wednesday show. Alex, we both said whoever gets the ball last is going to win the football game.
Funny.
Look what happened.
Funny how we tell you what's going to happen. I mean, here's the thing about you and me. We both think on similar wavelengths. We have our disagreements. That's what makes the show great. Yep. But we're very smart people here. We like to think we are, at least on this show. Okay, so we got our preview show coming up later this week. We may have more on this game, by the way. I think we might.
We might. Stay tuned with that. But we do have our preview show coming up later on. Obviously, we'll recap a bit of that Commanders-Packers game that'll be taking place on Thursday. Going to be an awesome matchup. And we got some great Week 2 matchups that are coming up in our main feature game on Sunday Night Football, being the Falcons and the Vikings. Man, it is very late. It's turning into early hours of the morning. But if you guys are watching this video, please like, subscribe, comment. We appreciate all the support. For that being said, that's Alex Frank. I'm Chase Johnson. We waited all day for Sunday night, and we got that treat. We're going to do it one more time next week. Week after week after week. We'll see you guys.